Hello friends, and welcome to Stark. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to talk to you all about the books I've read recently. So I'm talking July, August, September. So we're just gonna focus on those books. First, I would like to say, you're kind of giving him a shot of your just wide open mouth. Why don't you lay down? It's nice. Okay, we'll see if he lets me do this or not. So I first want to start by talking about just my reading life, like what that has looked like over the last few months. I actually really enjoy talking about this because I might read very different genres than you, or very different books or whatever, but we can still enjoy talking about it. There's actually a podcast that I enjoy listening to called What Should I Read Next? And I don't know if I've ever had a single book recommendation that I've taken from that podcast, but I really enjoy it because it just has helped me to talk about my reading and really think about my own reading life. Like, what do I enjoy? What's getting in the way of me reading? Or why do I love what I'm reading? You know, all those things that I think just can help you to be a reader if that's what you want. So for me, I want to be a reader and I do love it. But I have learned a long time ago, I'm not going to force myself to read a book that I don't enjoy, because what's important to me is that I'm choosing to read instead. Usually it's like instead of scrolling on my phone or just watching another episode or, you know, whatever. I don't know. I enjoy choosing to read as my hobby or as my pastime. And that means that I need to be interested in my book. And if I stop reading, then I need to change the book I'm reading because I really want to choose that. Anyway, all that to say, looking back at the last few months, I actually have read, I guess I didn't even total it up, 11 books over 3 months. That's pretty normal. One of the months was actually only one book, and I think I was reading other books, but I think they were returned before I was done with them. So all 11 books that I read over the last 3 months, that I finished over the last 3 months, I read them on like my phone or Kindle. They were Libby books, so I used the Libby app. I guess I should back up. I hardly own any books. I'm in front of my bookshelf, but like these are not very many books. I only own books that I know I will reread. I love using the library and like Libby, which is the online like library. I love it because I don't want anything to get in the way of me choosing to read, including cost. Like that should never be a reason why I don't read, is because you can't, like, libraries are amazing and it's free and you have access to so much for free. So take advantage of it. However, that being said, a lot of times I'm on a wait list for a book, or like even on Libby, I'm on a wait list and it gets delivered to me whether I was ready for it or not. And then also it gets returned if I was ready or not. And so that has been something I would like to improve in my reading life. If you have a great strategy for this, please let me know in the comments below, because I am totally fine. Like I can be patient waiting for a book if I have to, but it has been a little bit of a problem. I don't know. I'll start a book and then it gets returned and then I have to wait again to receive it again, or I don't know. I kind of read based on my mood, and a lot of times the book is ready when I'm not in that mood, or vice versa. Like I'm in the mood, but darn it, it's checked out, you know. So that has been sort of a problem, but still, well, I don't know. It's just like, it's a problem that I think other readers can relate to, and it's okay. And sometimes it actually turns into a positive, because if the book that I want is not there, well, then I have to find something else. And sometimes that stretches me and it makes me discover books that I wouldn't have maybe otherwise discovered. So that's good. These last few months, I read 4 3-star books, 5 4-star books, and then 2 5-star. So let me a little bit just quickly explain why I give, or how I give star ratings, I guess. And I do that just because I use Goodreads to track my books. A 5-star book for me means like I couldn't put it down, I plan to reread it, or I would recommend it to basically anyone. that's a 5-star. Now, 4-star means like one of those things is missing. So if I loved it, but it's very like specific to who I would recommend it, then maybe that would be a 4-star. Or if I liked everything about it, but hey, leave that alone. If I loved everything about it except for the ending or something, then a 4-star, stuff like that. And then if anything would be a 2-star or below, I usually don't finish that book. I have no problem abandoning a book because otherwise I don't read it anyway and I just scroll on my phone or something. Like, I just don't waste my time with 2-star, 1-star books. So a 3-star book is pretty much like as low as I'm gonna give it, or it usually means I just kind of got to a point where I was like, well, I'll just finish it, but I'm not enjoying it. That's kind of like a 3-star book. Or if I really am mad at the ending or something, then I'll give it a 3-star. So let's get into what I read. Okay, I started with The Crown's Game, and I'm going to talk about The Crown's Fate as well because it's a series, but those are the only two. I forget what that's called. There's a word, not a duet, but anyway, 2 books. And the first one, The Crown's Game, I gave 4 stars to, and The Crown's Fate 3 stars. So the premise a little bit is like there are these, it's in Russia, historical, oh sorry, I should have said, I think it's a young adult, fantasy, magic. Those are kind of the words. So Russia, there are 2 enchanters, but there can only be 1. Enchanters like ability to work with magic. And so they have like this game, the Crown's Game, to decide who out of the 2 of them will be Russia's enchanter. I'm pretty sure the other one like dies because they can't have 2. So then there's like a little bit of an element of like a love triangle. I liked it. I liked the first one clearly better because I thought it did a good job of like introducing these characters. I enjoy a love triangle, who she's gonna, you know, which one is it gonna be. I love that. I love like magical powers and abilities. I like that. Those are things that I just enjoy. So the book kind of was intriguing. But the second book, it's like they almost negated everything that they had done with a character in the first one. And then by the time it finally got to the ending, it was like, yeah, I guess that's the ending I wanted. But the second book took so long to get there and almost made me like forget that that's what I wanted. By the time it got there, it was like, okay. So I have a hard time even recommending, you know, I scored the first one after I read it. Then I read the second and I scored that one. And it almost maybe takes away a little bit from the first because it's not a standalone book. But the second book really, it drug it out too long, and this character was stuck for so long without a resolution, and it just, I don't know. It sort of took too long, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, okay, the next book is The Well of Ascension. I have to sort of talk about the first book in the series, which is Mistborn. I gave this one 4 stars. I really am enjoying this series. Again, I'm on the wait list for the next one, so I have to just wait and see. So it's again magical. Oh, what did I say? It's fantasy and adventure. There's magic in there as well, or like powers. I love a book with give me some magical powers, or you know, I love that. It was also the first book. It's kind of like a dystopian, almost like there's a revolution that needs to take place, and the second book I thought did a good job with sort of like that aftermath. Like, okay, now who's in charge? All the problems don't just go away. So like, how are we dealing with all this stuff now? I'm sorry. My dog, Stark, choosing right now to take a bath. That's perfect. And I also liked how they dealt with, the love story in the first book. I thought they did a good job in the second. A lot of times I see in the second book, either they kind of ignore that love story because now it's just like done and it's boring, or they introduce some new conflict that almost negates everything from the first and you're like, what? You know, so I really liked how this one, they allowed the characters to kind of grow and their love story developed in, I thought, a really good way, and I guess, real, like a real way in a very not real world. But I really liked that one, and I'm excited for the next one in the series. Okay, my next book is Greenglass House. Greenglass is a middle grade or like junior book, mystery, Christmas, and then I also wanted to throw in, there is like a ghost in the book. It's not a scary book at all, but just because it's like middle grade, I thought this would be a fun one to read with kids, but just so you know, I don't know. This one I gave 4 stars to. I don't think I predicted or guessed the ending, so I kind of like that part of it. If it's going to be a mystery, you know, it's a good one. And also the main character was adopted, and I have shared on here, like Chris and I are planning to adopt, and so I always like, you know, just cataloging kind of some books that have that in them. I thought they did a great job addressing that part of it, where it was like the character, I don't know, kind of struggled a little bit with sometimes not feeling like he belonged, or struggling that he didn't look like his adoptive parents, but also then feeling guilty for feeling that way, guilty for having those emotions when he really loved his adoptive parents. And I thought that was really, really great and well done in a book, and I think that's important to talk about, that you can do both. Like, you can have both, two things can be true, you know? You can love your adoptive family so much and still mourn the loss of looking like your family or having representation in, you know, I don't know. It was just all of those kind of tough things, and I thought it was a beautiful way of introducing those topics and maybe having those conversations. And it wasn't like the main, you could definitely enjoy this even without having adoption in your life already or something like that. Okay, my next book is Legends and Lattes. I gave it 4 stars. It's described as cozy fantasy. Here's the premise. There's an orc who wants to open a coffee shop. And honestly, that's all I need to say about it. If that has hooked you, you get it. If you are like, what the heck, then probably not for you. Like, that's literally the like whole story. Cozy fantasy is the perfect description. I really liked it. It was very fun. I did think it was definitely a story about like friendship. Oh, now both dogs are giving bats. You guys, I took away their toys so that they would be quiet. And I guess this is my punishment. I thought the book was definitely about friendship, but they put in like a little romance, and it was just kind of like, it's so subtle and not really a big part of the story, but almost to the point where I was like, then why even do it? Like, just leave the story about friendship. So I don't know, there was just that. Okay, the next one is A Harvest of Hearts. It's like a fantasy romance magic. I gave it 4 stars. I'm almost wondering, I wish there was like a 3.7 star or something, because I definitely was like intrigued. So I only read if it's closed door or like better, or like, that's like the most, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't read open door or spicier. There we go. And this one, it was technically closed door, but like there was some like references or like themes of romance in a way that I didn't quite love. Like, I don't like to get as close to open door as we can, you know, like it just wasn't what I really wanted. I also, the whole time I thought it was going to be a series. I didn't even explain what this book was about, sorry. There's magic because there are like these enchanter or wizards. Now I'm trying to remember what they call them, not witches. But they can use people's hearts to fuel their magic, if I'm saying that right. So they kind of like steal hearts. I thought it was going to be a series, which I should have just looked that up first, but like the whole time as it got closer and closer to the end, I in my head was kind of like thinking it was building up to this big epic like thing, and then it was going to be a cliffhanger, and then I was going to read the next one, and then it ended up just kind of like wrapping up. And I was like, oh. So I honestly was a little disappointed in the ending, but I think that's my own fault, because I should have just looked and realized this is a standalone book. So I don't know. Okay, this next section, we're going to go through 4 books pretty quickly because they're all sort of related. It's Pride and Prejudice, like fan fiction. This is a genre that I really enjoy. So the first one is Unequal Affections. It's a Pride and Prejudice retelling. This, it's like if Elizabeth had accepted the first proposal from Mr. Darcy. And this one gets 5 stars from me. I loved it. I thought it was so great. It's just like if you miss Pride and Prejudice or you kind of want to read it but you want more, like you wish there was a sequel or there was just more to the story, then this is a great, like it satisfies all of that. I thought, I'll go through these quickly, so never mind. That's all I'll say about that one. Because I read that one, I thought, oh my gosh, I want more. And so I tried to find some others. And this goes back to what I was saying about just using the library and Libby. I wanted more, but a lot of the ones that were recommended maybe were already checked out. And so I had to read some that maybe, because the rest all get 3 stars. And so I think I can see why, and why these were available and maybe others weren't. So The Thorn of Pemberley, a Pride and Prejudice variation, 3 stars. That was, I can't remember when it takes place, but Mr. Darcy, I think, has an accident and falls off like a horse. And that's sort of what humbles him. And then different circumstances bring them together. This was one, my critique with it is that I didn't think the characters were too different. It did not feel like the characters that we already know. It could have just been a different story. The Clergyman's Wife, a Pride and Prejudice novel. This follows Charlotte, her story. So I kind of was intrigued. I gave it 3 stars though, because Mr. Collins is very much still himself. Charlotte is still herself. It only really talks about Charlotte. And the ending was very unsatisfying. It just was, and I don't even know what I would have wanted, because the whole story, I'm kind of like, wait, what sort of book is this? What are we hoping for here? And then the ending just was nothing, if I can say that. It kind of is what I probably should have expected. Charlotte made her choice and we get to see her live with it. I guess that's what it was, but not quite as satisfying as what I wanted. And then the last one, Mr. Darcy's Diary. This is just the same story, but from his perspective. But my problem with that is that this book, in particular, it did not sound like I was reading Jane Austen. When I'm actually reading Pride and Prejudice, like even in my head, I feel like I'm speaking with a little accent, or like I'm reading it like in a very proper tone. This book was just, it didn't capture the tone, and so it didn't quite satisfy what I wanted from it. But all of those 3 stars, except for Unequal Affections, I do recommend. That was so good. After all of that, I needed a winner because I had such a run of 3-star books that I was like, okay, let's go to an author I already love, which was Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I love her from the Inheritance games. I just really knew, like, okay, I like her. Let's see what else she has, because I haven't read any of her other books other than the Inheritance games. So I read The Lovely and the Lost, and I gave it 5 stars. It's the character works with like search and rescue dogs. So first of all, dogs are a huge part of the story, so I really enjoyed that. It was fun, and to see like highly skilled dogs and that relationship and what they can do. They're searching for a missing person, and then the character, she was a missing person at one point, and she actually, another reference to like adoption and foster care, she then is living with a family that adopted her after she was found. It's a mystery. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even say mystery, young adult, and adventure. I liked the mystery. It was like, I definitely was surprised by the ending. That was fun and thrilling. It was like I couldn't put it down. But also there's way more going on in just the character's life, trying to kind of grow and heal and find some answers about her own past. So that made it even more interesting and gave it like a depth, and to her character, but also to the relationships in the book. But definitely 5 stars. I liked it, and I am looking forward to reading more of her books that she's written, several that I just have missed, and so now I get to go back and hopefully read those. So that is everything I read over the last 3 months. Well, no, that's not true. Every book I finished. Sometimes I start one and then the library takes it back. So we'll see. I'll try to keep track of those. Maybe I can talk about those too. Or I don't think there was a book that I bailed on, but I'll try to keep track of those too so I can talk about those and why. I am curious if you are someone who always finishes a book no matter what, or if you, maybe like how long do you give it before you quit reading? I don't know. But that is all. So thank you so much for letting me talk. I will do another one in another 3 months, unless I get crazy busy and read so many, but I feel like this is a good pace for me. I finish about 1 book a week. For now, I don't know. I'd love to read more, but I know how long it takes me to read a book, and I don't care to read super fast, so this is good for me. All right, well, thank you so much for sticking around and listening. I would love to hear your book recommendations, especially if you have similar taste as me, or at least tell me about your reading life. Tell me how you get your books, how you figure out balancing the library and wait lists and things like that. Tell me, because I'd love to know. But I will see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe and stick around. Thank you. Bye.